many voyages, 6 of them to be exact. Now, the last voyage he went on was a very short voyage. He traveled into a sea cave, and his ship was destroyed, and he woke up in a land called Serendip. And in Serendip, he met a really nice king, a sultan of Serendip. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a sultan. No, sorry, it was a king. He was a king. And he was given all these jewels and things like that, as Sinbad always does, because he ended up in this wonderful land, etc., etc., etc. For the people that are watching on Facebook that missed out on the 5th voyage, he was shipwrecked on an island, and he was found by this old man, and the old man basically tried to kill him, if that makes sense. And then the 4th voyage, which you guys would have missed out on too, because I didn't broadcast, he went to a land where he made friends with the local king, and the king said, if you want to become one of us, you have to marry into our people, for those of you on YouTube that remember. And so he married this beautiful woman, and the law in their country was that if your partner dies, your husband or your wife dies, you get thrown into a cave with them when they die. And that's basically what happened. His wife died, and so he got put into a cave. So now we're on to Sinbad's 7th and final voyage. It's actually one of my favorite ones. They finish with a bang. I didn't want to make any more journeys or go on any more voyages. I'm not young now, I said to my friends. I'm going to stay at home and be happy in my house and my gardens. One day I was with my friends when Caliph Harun al-Rashid sent for me. I want you, the great Caliph said, to take my answer and my presents to the king of Serendip. I hear and I'll go at once, I said. The Caliph's servants found me the best ship and made it ready for me. Then, as soon as the wind took us towards the east, we sailed with the Caliph's letter and the richest presents that anyone can find in Baghdad, Alexandria, Cairo, and the cities of the west. The king of Serendip was happy to see me, and the Caliph's letter and presents pleased him greatly. He was very kind to me, and I began the voyage home with my presents for him. With many presents from him and from the great men of his country. We had sailed for 3 days when we saw pirates coming towards us. There were hundreds of pirates in 5 or 6 ships, and they soon took our ship. They sailed with us to an island, and there they sold us. I was sold to a merchant, a good man who was kind to me. Can you shoot? He asked me. Yes. Good, because the rule of this country is, when we buy a man from pirates, we must go to shoot elephants. We sell the tusks and give some of the money to the pirates. I'll take you to the forest tonight, and you can begin. In the forest, he made me go up a tree. Wait there for the elephants to come near, then shoot one. I will come in the morning and bring you the elephant's tusks. Bring you and the elephant's tusks to the city. I waited a long time, but at last an elephant came near my tree, and I shot it. The merchant came in the morning, and he was pleased to see me and the dead elephant. I'm glad you can shoot well, he said. If you don't kill an elephant when you shoot, he will kill you. Remember that. That afternoon I met 2 men who had been taken by pirates from other ships. Their work, like mine, was to shoot elephants. We won't live for long, they told me. Even if we always kill the elephant, that doesn't save us. The elephants can think, and the friends of the dead elephants soon will kill us. I thought about their words. I mustn't go up the same tree twice, I told myself. I mustn't when more than one elephant is near me, and I must kill whenever I shoot. For a long time I shot an elephant every night, and I always killed it. The merchant was very pleased. You are the best man that I have ever owned, he said. From today, you shall have 1 tusk out of every 10 that you get for me. When you have 100 tusks of your own, you can go home to your country with them. I had nearly 100 tusks when at last one elephant got away alive after I had shot it. The next night, the forest was full of noise. The elephants, hundreds of them, were looking for me. Soon there were elephants all round my tree. I went to the top of the tree. The elephants came nearer. I didn't try to shoot, and that saved me. They stood round the tree and just took it out of the ground. They put me on the back of the biggest elephant and walked, one beside another, along a valley after valley. At last we came to a small hidden At last we came to a small valley hidden in the hills, and there they stopped. I looked around the valley. I had heard stories about a place where the elephants all go to die, but I didn't believe them. I believed them now. Hundreds and thousands of elephants had died there. The elephants stood round me and looked at me. None of them touched me. They just looked. I began to see that they were telling me something in their eyes. If they could speak, I thought, they would say, "Why do you shoot us for our tusks? Look here. Look at all of these tusks. We don't we don't want them. Take them. Tell the men of the city to stop shooting us." I tried to show the elephants that I knew what they were saying. After that, they helped me to find the way back to the city. I took the man who owned me to the place where the elephants went to die. He looked and looked again and said, "There are as many tusks here as all the merchants in all the cities can sell for 100 years." They stopped shooting elephants. They filled a ship for me with tusks to sell to Basra and Baghdad, and I sailed home. That was 10 years ago. It was my last voyage. Allah has been good to me. There's the elephant graveyard. Now, the interesting thing too is we kind of know based on science that this actually takes place, that elephants kind of have cemeteries for their dead. They're one of the only other things in the animal kingdom that can recognize their own dead, and they mourn over the loss of the dead members of their herd, which is quite interesting. So I find it cool that they've added this in here. Now, I know that this is a lot of this book that we've read so far is very un-PC, and if you're familiar with the Longman Classics series, they are based on classical novels that have been written a really long time ago, and in our day they would be considered to be very not politically correct, talking about slavery and shooting elephants, etc., etc., etc. So there is that. Now, I'll just show you this. This is the world of Sinbad as he knew it. So you can see up here, Sinbad lived here around the Arabian Gulf. You've got Basra and Baghdad in the top of the Gulf here, and he visited all of these places. Now, I'm not really sure where Serendip was, but part of me feels that Serendip may have been a part of Thailand or something like that. It sounds familiar to me, like I feel like I've heard that name before, but I can't be certain. Anyway, the questions for today. Why did Sinbad go on one more voyage? Who sold Sinbad to the merchants? What was Sinbad's work? What did he have to do? What did the elephants do to Sinbad's tree? What was the small valley? What did Sinbad take back to Basra and Baghdad? And that is the last chapter of Sinbad the Sailor. This is probably my favourite book in the Longman Classics series. There's heaps and heaps of them. This is the only one I brought home for this purpose. But they do Huckleberry Finn and the Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Count of Monte Cristo as well, I believe. So if you ever can find these, normally these are at schools. So if you're a student watching this, ask Mr. Ashley to try and get some more Longman Classics. If you're in my class, we already have these in our shelf at school, but yeah, ask your teachers at school. The other thing I was going to say too is over the coming days, I'm going to be starting to repost some um, episodes of what's called Sean Ashley and the Viewmasters of the Universe, which is a different channel that I have about Viewmasters that I started a few years ago when I had a bit more time. And it's basically really about the history of Viewmasters. But one of the series that I made on that channel was storybook stories based on the actual Viewmaster reels from going back to the 1940s. And so I took pictures of the photos and the reels and then read the stories. So I'm going to start putting those up um, over the coming days. So if you want to keep hearing some stories on here, um, stay tuned because you'll get to hear the Viewmaster series. Okay? Ka kite for now, and I will see you next time on Mr. Ashley's Place. Thanks for watching. Be safe.